What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success, and in this video right now, what I want to talk to you about is systematizing in order to grow your clothing brand, okay? I know for a fact, okay, after working with a ton of clothing brand owners inside of this community, that a lot of clothing brand owners are coming from the mindset that they're just going to casually run their clothing brand, casually market their clothing brand, and by that I just mean, making posts on Instagram and Facebook, and that's basically all that they're doing, and then hoping that they just blow or somebody finds it and shares it, and it just starts growing exponentially from there on out for the rest of their clothing brand's life, okay? And what I want to talk about in this video is how that's just not the way that it works, okay? I'm about to break down that whole belief and just sort of burn it, because that is the wrong mindset to be coming from. And instead, what you want to be thinking about is how you can be creating systems inside of your clothing brand that are reliable in actually gaining you new leads over time, gradually over time, so that you're able to grow consistently instead of relying on luck, okay? I think that this video is going to be absolutely huge for you. Here it is. This video here is sponsored by my buds over at Design Crowd, and if you need designs made for your clothing brand, I highly recommend you check out Design Crowd. Design Crowd's a website that helps entrepreneurs crowdsource amazing designs from designers all around the world. For a special $100 VIP offer for Apparel Success viewers only, head over to www.designcrowd.com/apparel to learn more, or simply use the discount code APPAREL when you post a project on Design Crowd. All right, so the first major point that I want to make for you inside of this video here that's super important for you to understand as a clothing brand owner is that although running a clothing brand is a little bit different than running another company, and you may have noticed this from watching a bunch of the videos on my YouTube channel where I talk about, social proof and getting influencers and stuff and how it all impacts the perception of your clothing brand. Although running a clothing brand is a little bit different, at the same time, running a clothing brand is no different than any other company in the sense that you need to be constantly generating new leads for your clothing brand. And you want to be doing this proactively, okay? No company should be sitting around sort of hoping that people find them. You never want to wait, sit back and hope that people find you. You want to be creating systems where you're constantly going out and finding your ideal customers, and you're constantly generating new leads that become customers, okay? Because otherwise, there's absolutely zero consistency, there's zero reliability, and there's absolutely no way that you can grow a business that you can sustain your life on if you have absolutely zero predictability, okay? Even if your clothing brand, say 1 month, just blows up and, Justin Bieber decides to share it on his Instagram account, that still doesn't mean that the next month you're going to keep getting new customers, right? You need to have a way that you're constantly going about growing your brand, even if it's really, really slowly, as long as it's happening consistently on a daily basis and you can predict it month to month, week to week, year to year. I think that the biggest challenge when you first start up your clothing brand is finding out a system that works for you in terms of you actually constantly generating leads for your clothing brand, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong. Write in the comments below if you think that I'm wrong. But I honestly believe that the number one challenge that most clothing brand owners have is they do not know which actions to take on a daily basis that will allow them to market and grow their clothing brand on a daily basis, okay? I think that's the number one challenge, okay? So what I'm telling you right now is that if you didn't know, if you weren't aware that, you really need to be putting something in place that you can execute on a daily basis, now you know, okay? And what I want to talk about now is exactly how you can get creative and actually create a system for your own clothing brand that allows you to market it on a daily basis and get you consistent results, okay? So the way that we go about it is on Instagram primarily. There's two main ways, okay? There's Instagram and there's obviously word of mouth. Now, word of mouth is a little bit less in our control, but we still do influence the word of mouth in a big way, which I'll talk about in a second here, okay? So try and follow along. So on Instagram, the way that we go about proactively gaining leads is by engaging with our ideal customers. So you really need to understand first, and this is why, all of the deep work that I show you on this channel in terms of discovering your brand and understanding exactly what your values are is important. Because at first, you really do need to understand exactly who your target audience is in order for you to create a system, because how can you create a system where you're constantly gaining new leads if you don't even know where to, go to actually find those people, right? So the first thing that we do is we understand exactly who we are, and then we're going to find those exact people on Instagram, okay? And we know exactly where they are because we know exactly who we are and what we represent. So we know exactly where exactly our target audience is. And then we've created a system where we're going about engaging with those exact people in a systematic, really, really efficient way on a daily basis. And you can do this in the form of following, commenting, liking, sending direct messaging, using promo codes, and really just creating a system where you're able to do this efficiently and really, really, reliably on a daily basis. The second form of lead generation, and I talk about this on the channel a lot because of how powerful I believe it is for your clothing brand, is creating word of mouth, okay? Now, word of mouth isn't something that should just happen by you chilling, sitting around, basically doing nothing, or maybe even just making posts on Instagram. There's a strategy around it, okay? And the way that we go about generating word of mouth is, number one, through running a lot of contests. So we run a contest once per week on our clothing brand's Instagram account. Usually we may miss 1 week, but generally it's once per week. And then at the same time, just the value of a customer inside of running a clothing brand is way more valuable than most other businesses, okay? Because the value of a customer, basically, if I'm walking around in the street and I'm wearing this, I'm basically like a walking billboard. How many other businesses out there, if you were a hammer company, it's not like people are just walking through the street with a hammer promoting your business, right? So the value of a customer with a clothing brand is huge. And that's why, I talk a lot about, I hate repeating all of these exact same concepts, but I talk a lot about how it can be really difficult at first to gain your first bunch of customers, but once you start to gain that momentum, it becomes easier and easier because you've got, say, 1,000 people out there walking around wearing your hoodie, wearing your t-shirts, and just as billboards for you walking around, so it makes it a lot easier, okay? So when it comes to creating a system for your clothing brand so that you can get consistent results and implement this on a daily basis, rather than just hoping to, randomly blow one day when somebody finds out who you are, I don't want you to view this in terms of it being a, one-trick pony where everybody's doing the exact same thing. And, unless you learn that one exact thing, you'll never be able to do it, or you're outside of the loop, okay? Because every business tends to do this differently, and it's really a creative art form. Like, the very richest people of the world are the absolute best at creating systems. They get creative with it. They're able to do it in the most efficient way and get the most amount of profitability out of their systems, and generate leads very, very easily, okay? So what I talk to you about in these videos, and when I talk to you about Instagram, and I didn't want to make this into a sales video here, but my online course, Instagram Marketing for Clothing Brands, is basically the exact system that I put in place for my own clothing brand that allows me to generate leads on a daily basis and grow my clothing brand gradually over time, okay? So if you want to go really in depth into the exact system of what I'm doing, it's way too much to show you here, and I've put tons of work into this course. So if you're interested, you can also check out my online course where you can learn the exact system. But I also want you to think here, and I also want to offer you, as much free value as possible in case, you just don't want to invest in something like that, that you can really, go on Instagram and get creative and create these systems for yourself that allow you to grow your clothing brand on a daily basis. I just don't want to see you laying around, just hoping that somebody finds your clothing brand and it just sort of fizzles out and dies, because that just tends to happen so much with these clothing brands that are, just posting on Instagram and they're not doing anything else. They're just sort of sitting around posting on Instagram and just hoping that somebody will find them and it will just blow. And it's just not the way to go about it, okay? It's the complete opposite of the way that you want to go about it. You need to be proactive. You need to have a system in place. I hope you liked this video. I hope it really shocked your system and got you thinking about different ways that you can market your clothing brand moving forward. And if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to tell you about the closed Facebook group that we have going on for apparel success. There's a link in the description below. Follow that link. Join us in the Facebook group. We're a bunch of clothing brand owners all in there to support each other and answer each other's questions. Thanks so much for watching this video. See you in the next one. Peace.